Hi guys, welcome to another Trials of the Michi Bushido video. Today I am just going to do a quick run through of some very basic ranged attacks and melee exchanges, and I've thrown a little key feat in there with three of my ninjas from the video that I did before, just sitting and talking through how to do a ranged attack and how to do melee attacks and how they work. People have been clamouring for me to actually put it into practice and show you it on the table with the dice rolls and stuff. So I have my midnight board behind me. I will set up some ninjas and just run through a few of those things just so that you can see them in practice. Hopefully it might make things a little clearer for those new to the game and for those that haven't actually managed to play themselves. Apologies now if I get anything wrong. I am still new to the game, but hopefully you will have a bit of a better understanding after this and be able to show everybody and all your buddies at least how to start before you start throwing in all the special abilities, special attacks and defences, key feats and all of that to add the complexity. This will just be a very basic rundown. I might ignore some of the special abilities the ninjas have to make things a little clearer, but hopefully you'll enjoy this and you'll join me next time. So I will swing round, put some models on the table and join me again then. See you. So here we are guys, we are back with my midnight board. I have three ninjas set up here just to run through, as I've discussed, through the base mechanics of a ranged attack, of a couple of melee attacks, and also just maybe one or two key feats just to see how they work. So here I have Kuhai set up on the top of the bridge here. I've got Rin charging towards Kuhai, and then I've also got Ghost hiding behind the large cart here. So for this purpose I'm going to have the two Ghost and Rin against Kuhai. Obviously if this was a proper match, unless you have two ninja factions against each other, they would be on the same side, but I only have these painted up now, so this will have to do. So I will just talk you through. You can see on the right here, this is where the red dish that I'll roll the dice so that you can see. So we'll just basically run through a couple of things. So we have, as I said, Kuhai on the bridge. So Kuhai is going to go. We'll do a ranged attack first. So when you do a ranged attack, you have modifiers. In the packs, in the card packs, you get a lovely handy card pack that shows the different modifiers and also the wound chart and damage rolls, so that's quite handy to have. So the melee modifiers, -1, we'll do range modifiers first. So the range modifiers, so normally the base number that you need to reach on your dice rolls starts with how far away you are from the target. So each ranged ability, so if you look on Kuhai's card now, Kuhai's ranged weapon has a distance or a range of 3, 5, 7. That means for 3 inches, if they're within 3 inches it's short range, if it's 5 inches it's medium range, and 7 inches is a long range. So that determines what number you start on before you add on your modifiers. So if it's short range it's a 4+, if it's medium range it's a 5+, and if it's long range it's a 6+. And then there are loads of additional modifiers to the target number, depending on the size of the model you're attacking. Whether the model is prone or surprised, you get positive modifiers. If the model is in cover, if the model has run, or if the model has already moved, or if the model moves, the model that's doing the ranged attack moves, there are negative modifiers. So I will quickly just run through and show you. So the good thing also that I like about Bushido is there are no pre-measuring, so it's all done sort of by looking and seeing whether you can determine what the range is, which is a bit of a gamble. I quite like that because for me it's more realistic, like real life. If you have a bow and you're trying to shoot somebody, or if you're trying to throw something at someone, you don't know exactly what the range is before you make the shot or the throw. So sometimes it is a bit of a gamble. So I do like that aspect of it, coming from Guild Ball where you can pre-measure everything and it's very precise and concise. I quite like that aspect of Bushido. It just adds a bit more flavour and narrative for me. So Kuhai here, I think in order to get a better chance, I want to move to be a bit nearer, because the short range is only 3 inches, and I would really like to be in short range for this first attack. Just bear in mind here, I'm using very basic rules. The ninjas have very special rules. They all have camouflage too, which means if they're benefiting from cover, they cannot be targeted unless you're 2 inches away from them. We will ignore that for now for Ghost, just otherwise this example won't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to declaring what you're going to do is very important in Bushido, rather than just moving stuff because of the modifiers. So in this instance, I would declare to my opponent I'm going to move Kuhai and then fire, which means I will suffer a -1 modifier to the target number. The way I try and remember it is any modifiers to ranged abilities will change the target number, usually, and then any modifiers to melee attacks will change the number of dice in your dice pool. So that's how I generally think about it. So Kuhai here is going to move, has a move of 4 inches, so we'll have plenty of movement. I'm just going to move towards the end of the bridge here, so I'm just going to move all of this here. So Kuhai is going to move there to the end of the bridge, as you can see, and then I'm going to fire at Rin, who's charging towards me. Now Kuhai has a special key feat called Hail of Steel. So this allows Kuhai for 1 action to make 3 ranged attacks. So I will do that in this instance, in this example, just so that I can show you multiple ranged attacks. It worked quite well for this example. So Kuhai first is going to shoot at Rin, and then I will have a shot at Ghost, and then I'll probably have another shot at Rin. In a proper game, you won't need to declare all 3. You would just do 1 first, and then wait and see what happens, and then declare the next one after that. So Kuhai here also has lightweight. So as I mentioned before, any normal models that move and shoot would suffer a negative modifier. Because Kuhai is a ninja who's got lightweight, that's a special ability that allows him to move and fire with no modifiers. So actually, because I'm a ninja, I won't get that negative modifier. So it looks like it's a straight shot at Rin here. So short range is 3 inches. This little token here is 3 inches long. So I'm within short range of Rin. So I'm firstly going to determine what my dice pool is. So Kuhai has a ranged dice pool of 3. So if you look on the card, there's a 3 there. I could boost that if I had the key. There's 3 key symbols next to it to 4 if I spend 3 key. But because we're pretending that I've used Hail of Steel, that is a 2 key ability, so the likelihood is that I wouldn't have any key. So Hail of Steel, rapid fire 3, so the first shot will be on Rin. So we've measured the range, it's short range, which means the base target number starts as a 4. Normally, if I'd moved and fired, it would increase that by 1, so I would be on a 5, but because of lightweight, I'm still on a 4. So I've got my 3 dice, which I will roll, and all I'm looking for is a 4. So if you've watched my previous video, when you roll dice, you firstly take, oh, that's a dreadful roll, you firstly take the highest number that you roll, and that's your base number. You then add on any other successes up to a maximum of 2, an additional 2 dice, and any successes is anything but a 1. So as you've seen here on this roll, I would have missed, because I'm looking for a 4, basically. I've got a 2 as my starting number, but then I don't add any additional ones because they're both a failure. So that's failed. So Kuhai has missed her target. So now what I will do is I will fire at Rin again, just to try and show you a success. So I've still got my 3 dice. Normally you would only get to shoot once, but because of rapid fire, I'm getting to fire 3 times. So this is the next one. Again, looking for a 4 because I'm still shooting at Rin. So that's a little better. So this number is a 6, and then I've got 2 additional successes which add on +1. So I've got 6, I've got 7, I've got 8. So I have I've got 8 on my dice roll. I was only looking for a 4. So now what you do is, to work out the damage and the damage roll that you do, you work out your success level. So I was looking for a 4, I got an 8, take the 2 from each other, so I have a success level of 4. So now what you do is you look on your wound chart, and on the success level 4 column, when you're doing a damage roll, unless you have any special abilities, you roll 2 dice, add the number together, and then that's your damage roll. And you compare that to your success level. So again, I will roll 2 dice here for the damage. So the damage is 6. So what I would do is look at success level 4, go down the 6, and that would actually do 4 damage. Now, what we also do is on the damage roll, there are additional modifiers depending on whether you have any ranged modifiers or whether you have armor or things like that. So Kuhai here, if you look on the card, on the bottom right, has a ranged modifier of -1. That means when you do the damage roll, like I've just done and got a 6, you would subtract 1 before working out how many wounds you do. So I would actually be on 5 instead of 6. Also, any armor reduces that further. So Rin has armor 1, which reduces that down then to 4. So I've actually got a damage roll of 4. So if I look at the success level 4, on the damage roll 4, I've only actually done 3 wounds. So Rin there would take 3 damage. If a model has a toughness, then that would reduce the number of wounds taken. But none of my ninjas have toughness, so she would take 3 wounds. So that's 2 attacks already gone from Kuhai. What I'm now going to do is try and shoot at Ghost, just to show you again a different ranged attack. So I need to measure here. This is 6 inches, so I'm about 6 inches away, which means I am within long range, which for me is 7, but I'm not within medium range. So my starting number is long range. Now long range, I've said before, is a 6, so I need a 6 plus in order to hit Ghost. He's also benefiting from cover. Now cover is really important in Bushido because it allows you to get a +2 negative modifier to ranged shots. So here I would start on a 6, add the +2, so I actually need an 8 here. So it's going to be quite a bit of a long shot to do anything here, but I'll give it a go anyway. So this is my 3rd and final shot with Kuhai. Still, again, 3 dice, and I'm looking for 8. So let's roll here. So this is a 5 +1 because it's a 2 or higher. So I've actually got 6, and then this one is a failure. So my roll now is a 6, and I was looking for an 8, so that misses as well. So Kuhai has been a bit pathetic there in his attacks, but it's all really for the camera just to show you. So Kuhai would now become tired because Kuhai has done 1 action. I've got little tired tokens here for you. So Kuhai will get this white token here just to show that he is tired. So now it's over to one of my opponent's models. So in this instance I'll go with Ghost. So I'll just show you a key feat here. So Ghost, imagining he has 2 key available, he can do a key feat called Apparition. Place this model within 2 inches of its current location. The key feat can be used once per activation. So I would now say I'm going to do my key feat. Ghost gets a 2-inch, basically a 2-inch place. So he's going to go 2 inches this way, just to be the other side of the cart, which means he's closer to Kuhai. So now we will try a melee attack. So Ghost here is going to declare a melee attack on Kuhai. So when you do a melee attack, you need to move into base-to-base contact, and then you both get to fight together. So your opponent will also get to fight. So Ghost here is just going to saunter up to Kuhai. Kuhai then changes facing slightly just to face Ghosts because they're engaged in a melee attack. So now we work out firstly the dice pool. So in this instance, the attacking model is the one that will attack first, which means the defending model needs to declare their use of key feats, their use of special attacks and defences first. You alternate in order. So Kuhai has no key, so cannot boost any of their melee attacks. So Kuhai has 3 as his dice pool, and Ghost also has 3 as his dice pool. So neither would use any key boosts. You could do key feats here if any of your models had special abilities, like Rin has, to give her Cobra Strike, which allows her to attack first. Now, you'd only really do that if you were defending to ensure that you got to attack first. But in this instance, neither have a key feat that would affect this exchange. So we both start with 3 dice. You now decide in secret how many of those dice you want to roll as attack dice and how many you roll as defense dice. So bear in mind here, Ghost is the attacking model and Kuhai is the defending model. So I will firstly roll for Ghost as the attacking model. You can obviously see here what I'm going to do. You wouldn't know in advance. So Ghost here as the attacking model is going to roll 2 attack dice and 1 defense dice, just to try and hedge the bets. So black will be the attack dice. So here I'm rolling, as you can see. So I got a 5 and a 4 for my attack and a 1 for my defense. So my attack would be 5 plus 1 would go to 6. So Ghost here has 6 for attack and 1 for defense, which is a failure. So Ghost has nothing as a defense. Now for Kuhai, in response, you would roll these at the same time during a proper game. So Kuhai, again, black is attack, so has a 5 for attack, and defense has a 4 plus a 1, goes to 5. So you then compare in sort of initiative in active order. So Ghost would do the attack first of 6 against Kuhai's defense of 5. So that's a success level of 1. So Ghost has a success level of 1. So that's those dice gone. So now you would look on Ghost's card, and he has a +1 modifier to melee attacks. So instead of a success level of 1, it would go up to success level of 2. However, Kuhai also has armor 1, which reduces the damage roll by 1. Sorry, this is the damage roll, so not on the success level. So we're still success level 1. So I would roll a damage roll now, first before the modifiers. 2 dice. So roll there. So I actually have 10, which is pretty epic. So 10 on the damage roll, and now this is where I would do the modifiers. So I have 10 plus the 1 for his melee modifier would go to 11, but then because of armor 1, that would go back down to 10. So it's still 10 on the 1. So we look at the success level of 1 on the card, all the way down the damage roll of a 10. And it's actually, although despite a really good damage roll, it only does 2 damage to Kuhai here. So you can see that actually, I think if you're looking at the card, the success level is actually the more important one than the damage roll, because the higher the success level, that really does start ramping up the damage. So I'm just going to mark here, so Kuhai only takes 10 on the 1, 2 damage. So Kuhai has taken 2 damage here. Now, in response, Kuhai gets to attack back, which we've already rolled for. So Kuhai has an attack of 5, and Ghost has a failure, so it's a defense of nothing. So the success level here is actually 5. So I'm now going to do the damage roll again on the success level 5. So I've got a damage roll now of 7. Now Kuhai also has a +1 to the melee damage roll, so that would go up to 8. But again, Ghost has armor 1, so that would reduce it again by 1. So we're still on 7. So I'd look on the damage on the wound chart, success level of 5, and then all the way down to damage 7. So that actually does 5 damage to Ghost. So Ghost takes 5 damage in response, all for attacking. And he only has 6 wounds, so he's quite close to death already. But the good thing about this now is it means that for that melee exchange, because both models actually fought because they had to, Ghost has done his job of exhausting Kuhai. So Ghost goes down to 1 because he's tired, but Kuhai, unfortunately, now has become exhausted because of that exchange. There are some models like Rin, who has an ability called Tireless, which means when an enemy model engages you in melee like that and you have to defend, you don't gain a tired level. However, Kuhai doesn't have that. So Kuhai is now gone, which now also means that I'm exhausted, so I cannot actually carry on. So it would go back over to my opponent, who could activate Rin. If that hadn't happened, I could then go again and ghosted something else. I could then go again with Kuhai, because I would still have an action to go, but now Kuhai is exhausted. So Rin will also just saunter up and try and take out Kuhai, who has 4 runes left. So Rin will just move 4 up to there, and now Rin and Ghost are outnumbering Kuhai. So this will mean that there is a negative modifier to Kuhai's melee, but it also, because Kuhai is exhausted, that will suffer an additional modifier. So firstly, we work out our dice pools. Rin is actually quite good in combat, so Rin has 4 dice in a melee exchange. Kuhai, as we saw before, has a base of 3, so starts with 3 dice. As a defender, Kuhai will need to declare any key feats or key boosts. There is no key left, so Kuhai cannot do any key boosts. Then Rin would declare whether Rin wanted to do any, so I'm not going to because it's 4 against dice of 1. And then they would declare any key feats, again neither of which are going to do any. Rin has Cobra Strike, as I've mentioned, allowing her to strike first, but because she's the attacking model, she is attacking first in this instance anyway. And then they would declare any special attacks or defences, which I didn't do in the first exchange because that just complicates things slightly further. But this is now the stage where you would declare any special attacks or defences. So on the bottom of the card, as you'll see, each of my ninjas has special attacks and defences. Normal factions have to pay for these, so in order to pay for them, you actually reduce your dice pool by whatever it says in the brackets. All of the ninjas are all 0, so they're basically 0 actions. They get to do them for free, but other ones are usually sort of 1. So you would reduce your dice pool. If, say, you had a dice pool of 3, you would reduce it by 1 to give you a dice pool of 2, but you get to do a special attack or defense. So Kuhai here is going to declare Sidestep Defense as a 0 action. Don't lose any dice, but it would allow me to take a 1-inch dodge to step away from melee if I was successful in my defense. Rin is going to do combo attack, just so that I can show you. This means that if I am successful in my attack by a success level of 2 or greater, it means I get to do an additional dice roll for every 2 additional 2 that I'm successful by. So you would do firstly a damage roll on 2, and then you'd reduce it to 0 and do a damage roll on 0, and keep going until you get down to less than 0. So if you actually had a success level of, say, 6, you get to do a damage roll on 6, then a damage roll on 4, then a damage roll on 2, and then a damage roll on 0, resulting in a dead opponent, probably. So Rin is really powerful in the attack here. So what Rin will do is hedge her bets a little. So Rin will do black is attack. So Rin will do 3 attack dice and 1 defense, just in case Kuhai decides to attack back. Kuhai, because the dice pool has been reduced to 1, because they're starting of 3, I'm outnumbered, which reduces it by 1 for every outnumbering model, but also I'm exhausted, which would reduce it by another 1, so I only have a dice pool of 1. So I might as well gamble and throw all of that in defense. So we'll roll for Rin first. So Rin here, black is attack. So Rin has actually done enough, because we have an attack of 5, plus 1 is 6, plus another 1 is 7. So whatever I get on the defense dice, the maximum will only be a 6, so I'm definitely going to hit here. And on defense also has a 6, so it's pretty safe if Kuhai had decided to attack back instead of defending. But we'll roll Kuhai's defense just to see. So Kuhai's defense is actually a 6, which means it's not going to be quite as bad as first feared. So we look at Rin's attack, 5, 6, 7. So Rin has an attack of 7, Kuhai has a defense of 6, so the success level is 1. Now Rin actually, so now we roll our damage roll. So I'll roll 2 dice first. So we have a damage roll of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 on the damage roll at success level 1. Now because Rin has no modifiers to melee, we don't add anything on to the damage roll, but Kuhai does have armor 1, so we reduce the damage roll by 1. So it's actually not 9, it's actually going to be 8, but that's probably going to be plenty. So we'll look on the success level of 1, and then we go down to the 8. So actually, again with the success level being quite poor, that even though the damage roll was high with an 8, it only does 1 damage. So we're only going to do 1 damage here to Kuhai. So Kuhai is actually going to survive that melee exchange because although Rin activated a combo attack, because the melee was not, the success level, sorry, was not 2 or more, we don't get an additional damage roll. So we now then turn the tables and see if Kuhai had any attack dice, which he didn't, sorry. So the next exchanges, it doesn't happen. So that would then tire out Lin. So that's basically a couple of ranged attacks and a melee exchange there. So you can see they are all still alive. Kuhai was very fortunate then to stay alive. You would then keep activating your models. As there's only 3 here, it looks a little unbalanced because Rin and Ghost would get to go again and just keep pummeling Kuhai, but it wouldn't obviously normally come to that because we'd have other models. So that's basically running you through melee and ranged attacks. So the melee modifiers is -1 to your dice pool for if you're exhausted, which we've just seen, -1 if you're frightened. Certain models have fear, so you have to roll against a fear test. You have to roll a fear test before you can hit them. And then also, if a model is being outnumbered, you lose a dice. If the model is prone, you lose a dice. If the model has performed a run, you lose a dice. And if the model is surprised, you also lose a dice. The minimum dice you can roll is 1, so you would always be rolling 1 dice. So there you go. That's melee in a nutshell and ranged attacks in a nutshell. Sorry if it's been a little boring just staring down at the table, but that's just going through the dice rolls. Now, the other sort of test that you tend to do would be a target number test. And when you do that, you would roll your dice, and instead of doing like what we did there where you would add on any additional successes, it is just a target number of 1 dice. So although most of them are based on your key statistic, which for the ninjas is 2, you would roll 2 dice and try and get to that target number. So for example, if you were attacking somebody that had fear 5, you would need to get 5 on a single dice. You wouldn't be able to add on any additional successes, so it's actually much more difficult to do. So I would roll 2 dice and hope that I get a 5 from that in order to pass that test. So there's slight differences between melee, ranged and target number tests, but that's it in a nutshell. I hope that's made things a little clearer. Sorry if I've kind of waffled and actually made it more complicated. We will come back with some proper battle reports to see this in action, because this is just a very small sample, a small setup for you. But I hope that's a little clearer. And also we will use some models that aren't ninjas, because they do all have special abilities, special defences and attacks, special key feats. But that's it in a nutshell. Hope you've enjoyed, and join me next time for some proper battles. Until then, cheerio! So there you go guys, you've just seen me run through some ranged attacks and some melee attacks. Apologies if I got anything wrong. I am still relatively new to the game. I've only played a couple of games myself, and only really with ninjas, and they all have very special complicated rules, so I might have got some of that wrong, so apologies if that's the case. Be nice. Pop them in the comments if you'd like to correct me on anything or show me what I've done wrong or anything like that, but be gentle. I am new. I am going to try and continue with these sort of little mini rundowns of certain aspects of the game, especially when I can paint up, once I've painted up my prefector, and I can show you some more of the normal models and the special key abilities and things, a bit of a rundown of those. And as I keep saying, battle reports are on the way. So thank you guys for watching again, and please comment, share, like and subscribe, and let's keep the momentum going for this fantastic game. Let's get as many people playing as possible. I know a lot of my Guild Ball buddies have jumped into the system from these videos, so hopefully we'll get a lot more content out there, a lot more YouTube videos, a lot more attention on Facebook and Twitter and social media, and let's get crazy for this because it's awesome. It's a fantastic game, and there are also some releases coming up. I mentioned on my previous video there was some teasers for the Junk Pirate profiles. Now I've found out since that they were part of the Rise of the Kage board game, so they're not as much of a spoiler or a teaser as I first thought, but they are supposed to be getting released around August time. So we will have a new faction around August, the Jung Pirates, and then will also the additional ninjas I was talking about will also be released shortly. I've seen some pictures now on the forums from Salute. I was at Salute, and this is where I bought into Bushido. If I'd have known at the time, I would have paid a bit more attention, but there were the 2 new ninjas on display, and also some Jung Pirates on display, which I believe will probably be the starter box. So if you're interested in that, go check out Bushido the game on the website and on the forums. There's a news section that has the Salute picture on, showing these models to get you excited. So that's it for today, guys. Join me next time for more Bushido. This is Trials of the Michi with Chris. Cheers!